From both personal experience and years spent observing how women communicate, one thing becomes clear: the way women express romantic interest is often far subtler than most men imagine. There are no obvious announcements, dramatic declarations, or cinematic moments where everything suddenly becomes unmistakable. Instead, attraction is usually revealed through quiet, natural behaviors that are easy to miss. Because these signals are so understated, many men miss them completely, much like trying to hear a faint whisper in the middle of a raging storm. Research published in Communication Monographs found that women rely on indirect communication almost 70% more often than men when discussing emotionally vulnerable subjects. In other words, when a woman wants something deeply personal or intimate, she is often unlikely to state it outright. Instead, she may soften the message, disguise it in casual language, or hint at it indirectly. If you focus only on the literal words, you can easily miss the deeper meaning behind them. What makes this discussion different is that it is not about a long list of vague signs or mysterious body language cues. It comes down to just two specific questions that women may ask when they are seeking intimacy. Only two. Once you recognize them, you may begin noticing them everywhere, in past relationships, in current conversations, and in moments that suddenly make far more sense in hindsight. Before I reveal those questions, you need to understand why many women communicate this way instead of simply saying exactly what they want. That context can completely change how you interpret what a woman says and why she says it. Consider something many people rarely think about. From a very young age, often around 5 or 6 years old, many girls begin absorbing a powerful social message. Whether it is taught directly or learned through cultural expectations, the message is often the same: do not be too forward, do not appear too aggressive, do not make the first move. Show interest, but not too much. Be approachable, but never seem desperate. It sounds exhausting, and in many ways it is. Yet for countless women around the world, these expectations shape how they learn to express interest, attraction, and vulnerability as they grow up. Dr. Deborah Tannen, a linguistic professor at Georgetown University, spent many years studying the different ways men and women express themselves. One of her best-known findings is that women often rely on what she describes as rapport talk. This style of communication is centered on creating emotional connection, establishing trust, and sensing whether the other person is emotionally safe before revealing deeper feelings. Men, on the other hand, are more likely to engage in rapport talk, which focuses on sharing information, discussing facts, and finding solutions. Because of this difference, a woman's question is often about more than the words she speaks. Instead of simply seeking information, she may be trying to understand your emotional response. Her question becomes a subtle way of checking the atmosphere between you and deciding whether she feels comfortable opening up further. This communication gap explains why many men are surprised when a woman suddenly becomes distant or loses interest. From his point of view, everything seemed to be going well. She smiled, laughed, and asked thoughtful questions, so he assumed the connection was growing. From her perspective, however, those questions were meaningful attempts to create emotional closeness. When he responded with brief, distracted answers or immediately shifted his attention back to something else, she interpreted it as a lack of engagement. Without an argument or dramatic confrontation, she quietly concluded that the emotional connection was missing and decided not to invest any further. Now that you understand the framework, the operating system behind how she communicates, it is time to talk about the first question. And honestly, when I tell you what it is, your jaw might actually drop at how simple it sounds. The first question a woman will ask you when she wants intimacy is this: what are you thinking right now? At first glance, it hardly sounds significant. Many men assume it is just a casual conversation starter or a passing question. But that assumption is exactly why its deeper meaning is so often overlooked. When a woman asks what is on your mind, she is often doing more than making small talk. She is trying to understand your inner thoughts and emotions. In many cases, she is inviting you to let her into your personal world. Behind the question is an unspoken message: I want to know what's happening inside your mind because I want to feel closer to you. That transforms an ordinary question into an opportunity for emotional connection. Relationship researcher Dr. John Gottman describes these moments as emotional bids, small attempts to create closeness between two people. An emotional bid can take many forms, including a touch, a look, a compliment, or a simple question. Each one is an invitation to connect. According to Gottman's research at the University of Washington, couples who consistently recognized and responded positively to one another's emotional bids enjoyed much stronger, longer-lasting relationships. By contrast, couples who regularly ignored or dismissed those moments were far more likely to drift apart over time. That difference is substantial. It often marks the line between a relationship that grows stronger and one that slowly fades without either person fully understanding why. So when she asks, "What are you thinking about?" she is extending an invitation to connect. Your response can either strengthen that bond or quietly weaken it. If you brush the question aside with answers like, "Nothing, I don't know," or a dismissive remark, she may interpret it as emotional distance. It is rarely one isolated moment that causes problems. Instead, repeated missed opportunities gradually create a sense of disconnection until the relationship begins to lose its closeness. This also relates to physical intimacy. Research found that, on average, women's intimacy desire is influenced more strongly by emotional context than men's. Feelings of trust, emotional security, appreciation, and being genuinely understood can all play an important role in fostering attraction and intimacy. When she asks what you're thinking, she may also be seeking reassurance. Without saying it directly, she could be wondering, "Do you trust me enough to share your thoughts? Are you emotionally present with me? Can we experience this moment together?" When your answer communicates openness and sincerity, it can strengthen feelings of closeness. The change may not be obvious, but internally, it helps build trust and lowers emotional barriers, making the relationship feel more secure and connected. So the next time a woman asks, "What are you thinking right now?" resist the urge to shrug it off or change the subject. Make eye contact and answer honestly, even if your thoughts seem ordinary or unimportant. The specific topic matters less than your willingness to be open. More often than not, the real question isn't about what you're thinking, it's about whether you're willing to let the other person into your world. And while this question is an important step toward building intimacy, it is only part of the process. Before she feels completely comfortable opening up, there is often one more meaningful question she wants answered. The second question she will ask you when she wants intimacy is this: "Are you tired?" At first glance, it sounds ordinary. Many men dismiss it as a casual expression of concern. But once you understand the deeper meaning it can carry in certain situations, you may recall moments when a woman asked you this and you completely missed what they were really trying to communicate. On the surface, the question sounds caring. She appears to be checking on your well-being or wondering if you've had a long day. Sometimes that is exactly what she means. However, the context makes all the difference. When it comes late at night, after an enjoyable date, a heartfelt conversation, or a quiet moment together, the question may have very little to do with sleep. Instead, it can be a subtle way of asking whether you are emotionally and physically present. She may be wondering if you still have the energy to spend more time together or whether the evening is coming to an end. Framing the question this way allows her to avoid feeling exposed. If you answer, "Yes, I'm tired," she can simply wish you good night without either of you feeling awkward or rejected. The conversation ends naturally, and neither person has to admit what was left unsaid. On the other hand, if you reply that you're not tired, you've signaled that you're still engaged in the moment. That response may encourage her to move a little closer, continue the conversation, or create more opportunities for affection. Rather than making assumptions or applying pressure, you've simply communicated that you're present and open to spending more time together. By asking an innocent question, she creates space for the interaction to develop naturally while preserving her dignity if the answer isn't what she hoped for. Imagine you've just finished a wonderful evening together. You've shared dinner and enjoyed meaningful conversation, and the chemistry between you has been building all night. As you're sitting together or saying goodbye at the door, she quietly asks, "Are you tired?" If you respond by saying you are tired, she may smile warmly, thank you for the evening, and head inside. She may genuinely have enjoyed herself, but she could also feel disappointed because the opportunity for a deeper connection quietly slipped away. Now imagine giving a different answer. She asks the same question, and you smile before saying, not at all. Without making any bold move or creating pressure, you've communicated that you're fully present. That simple reply may reassure her that the evening doesn't necessarily have to end just yet, allowing the moment to unfold naturally if both of you are interested. For many women, feeling that their partner is emotionally available is just as important as physical attraction. Research from the Kinsey Institute has suggested that women in romantic relationships often identify emotional or physical disconnection, not lack of attraction, as one of the biggest obstacles to intimacy. That insight is worth considering. Sometimes the hesitation isn't about a lack of desire. It's about uncertainty over whether the other person is emotionally engaged. A simple question like, "Are you tired?" can become an indirect way of seeking reassurance without risking outright rejection. The timing of the question also matters. It's unlikely to come up casually during the middle of a busy afternoon. Instead, it often appears during quiet, private moments when the emotional atmosphere has already become more personal. If you begin paying attention to when the question arises, you may notice a pattern. It frequently appears just before a moment when the interaction could naturally move toward greater closeness, or end for the night. Missing these moments can sometimes have consequences. When a woman repeatedly reaches out in small, indirect ways and those efforts go unnoticed, she often doesn't become angry or confrontational. Instead, she gradually adjusts her expectations. She may begin to believe that you are not fully attentive or emotionally responsive, and over time she becomes more reserved. Relationship psychologist Dr. Sue Johnson, the founder of emotionally focused therapy, has described a similar dynamic through what she calls the protest-withdrawal cycle. One partner reaches out for emotional connection, the other doesn't respond in a meaningful way, and eventually the partner who kept reaching out begins to stop trying, not because their feelings disappeared, but because they no longer expect to be understood. From this perspective, questions like, "What are you thinking?" and "Are you tired?" can sometimes serve as gentle invitations to connect. Whether or not they are intended as signals of intimacy depends entirely on the individual, the relationship, and the surrounding context. Paying attention to those moments, and responding with genuine presence rather than assumptions, can help strengthen emotional connection and mutual understanding.